You were there in the building, or at least I assume you still were for this.
Maybe not.
And that's when Hulk Hogan joined the NWO. What do you remember about this?
I was there. I was pissed off.
First of all, let me ask you this. Did you know that Hogan was going to be the third man?
We had heard something about it, but we didn't know. Nobody actually knew 100%. We had heard inklings. The thing was, I was pissed off because they didn't have us on the show. That's why I was pissed off.
Okay.
And they had other people on the fucking show.
Well, then they because I mean you guys went on second, correct? You guys wrestled the Steiners. Is that right or no?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember wrestling that night at all.
Okay.
Were we on that one?
Yes, I think so. I'm looking at 1996 right here. And it has you guys on second against the Steiners. Unless what I have in front of me is wrong.
I don't remember that. The night that he turned.
Yeah.
The night that he turned, I don't think we worked on the
Well, I'll tell you what. Based on what I have in front of me, I can see how you possibly here we go. Indicates the match was broadcast prior to the pay-per-view on main event. So you guys wrestled on the show, but not on the pay-per-view.
Exactly.
On the free
That's
show.
what it was.
Gotcha.
That's
okay.
what it was. And I was really ticked off. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Mm-hmm. You know, I think we earned the right to be on this fucking show because, you know, we had been the champions.
Right.
You know? And I'm like, what kind of dickhead chicken shit is this? But, you know, that I was pissed off about. Although I wanted to be on the main show. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it is what it is. That's what the situation was. And I'm like, and they didn't give us very much time either. It wasn't very much time. It wasn't but a few minutes, you know. And
5 minutes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it was just a few minutes of boom, 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 get out, bye, and you're out, you know. And I was like, you know, really, you know, pay-per-views, that's where we like to really shine and have, you know, really significant matches. Things that I know. That, what I really, and then the thing was, everybody had to stay there for the rest of the fucking night.
You couldn't leave and go back to the hotel and, you know,
which
take
was right
powder
across the fucking street.
Right.
Everybody had to stay there. I guess they didn't want somebody to go out and say, "Oh, Hogan's going to turn heel tonight." Like I gave a shit. You know, I didn't. You know, yeah, we had to stay there for the rest of the fucking night on a fucking 2-3 hour fucking pay-per-view and wait for all this shit to go down, man. I was like, whatever the fuck ever, man. But you know, it is what it is. But you know, if I'm working this early, I'm ready to go down Daytona. They got 50,000 bars. I'm ready to go fucking take a shower and go hit the fucking bars.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to do. I love Daytona. Mm-hmm. I love that fucking town. Love it. But it was what it was.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to sound bitter, but I just, like I said, remember I had to be at the fucking building for the rest of the fucking day. You know.
Yeah.
And that I didn't like. But
so I'm going to go out here on a limb and assume that you don't recall the general feeling or sentiment in the building after the NWO formed and Hogan did his deal.
I didn't give two shits about what the fuck went on in that goddamn building that night. You know, I was ready to get the fuck up out of there, bro. I mean, it was what it was. You know, like I said, we had heard remnants of that. We knew something was going on because, like I said, they didn't want any of us to leave. Since when they don't want any of us to leave? If you worked already on a pay-per-view back in those days, you could leave.
Right.
You know? And hell, we wasn't even on the pay-per-view. We was like in a dark match. You know? So, and it was just so much fucking bullshit going on. It really was strange. It was a strange fucking night, man. I'll never forget it. It just was a strange fucking night. I was just trying to hope. I was just glad that some bitch was over.
Right.
Now I remember that. Like, oh, holy fuck! I'm glad this shit is over now. Let's get the fuck out of here. That's what I remember. Let me get the fuck off this motherfucker tonight, bro. That's what I remember.
This is the most cliched, or one of the most cliched questions I think in the history of wrestling. But I'm going to ask it anyway because you were there, you were in the building, you were a part of the show. Did the NWO hurt wrestling? I mean, everyone's talked about, you know, the faces and heels going away during this era and the whole cool factor of the NWO really killing that vibe. Do you think it was good or bad for professional wrestling?
I think it was good and bad at the same time.
Okay.
The reason I think it was good because nothing like that, no entity had ever been put together like that before. And, you know, it was Hulk Hogan who had been the pinnacle of a babyface for so long. turning heel, which is a big, big part of his career, going in that direction. So I know he had to have trepidations about that. But be that as it may, it took off like wildfire. But the only thing I think, looking back on it now, because as you well know, I was a part of the NWO, it got pushed too long. And then they start making other NWO red and black, NWO black. It started.
And one time you were the leader of NWO Hollywood, I believe.
That's another thing that people tend to forget. That old Ray Dog himself was one of the prime leaders of the NWO.
See, I've done my research.
As well as all of my other accomplishments and accolades. You don't leave nothing out. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
One time I was the leader of it, but by that time it was so watered down. It was like Fonzie leading Richie and all those guys from Al's. Al's Diner at that time. So wasn't like it was a big feat or something of that nature. But going back to the original question, I honestly believe if it had been thought out the right way, they could have got better mileage out of it. It got to the point where that's the only thing on the show that people cared about. Mm-hmm. Who the NWO was going to come out and jump on next and this, that, and the other. And I think what happened was it got so big, they didn't know how to keep up with it. Mm-hmm. It was like one of those monster movies where the guy makes a monster, then all of a sudden the monster keeps growing. Mm-hmm. And wait a minute, I built a monster to just attack this little town right now. Now it's bigger than the whole town,
right?
And I don't know what to do.
It's like Friday the 13th was cool, but Part 9 is a little much.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's what happened, and it just started filtering out, and hell, next thing you know, it was nothing like it was. Next thing you know, they got everybody's part of the NWO. This guy, that guy, blah, blah, blah. To the point where it's like, wow. So if that had kept it short and sweet, you had something. Mm-hmm. But it was bigger than it was an accident. It was like a professor in the lab going back to the monster. It was an accident, Mm-hmm. Man, I made a monster, but man, I didn't know it was gonna grow like this.
Right.
And that's what happened. It was an accident. So, they could really write for something that was taking over pro wrestling. It was taking over all of pro wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, they had their own branded pay-per-views for crying out loud, which was just a little over the top.
Yeah. But it was fun, man. I'm not going to lie. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. I make jokes about Hogan and all those guys, but, man, I really enjoyed it, man. We had a good time.
Yeah.
We had a good time. I remember me and Brett went on the road. We was tag team partners. I don't even know. He didn't even know if he was in the NWO or not at the time. He was like partially in and partially not in. And me and him, we went all over the country as a tag team. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's why I really got to know Brett and talk to him a whole lot. So that was cool.
So I want to remind everybody at home, TitleMatchWrestlingNetwork.com. Every Saturday night, brand new episodes of Stand Up for Greatness with Stevie Ray. Subscribe now. You can get a 14-day free trial. Stevie?
This is what I want everybody out there that's watching. I want you to go to Instagram. I want you to go to Twitter. I want everybody to send in every single solitary message that you can if you watch Stand Up for Greatness with Stevie Ray. And I want everybody to let me know how fast, how swift, how urgent do you want Matt Topolski off this show? Now, if you can please get back with me. That's Title Match. Check it out. Get a good shot of it. Title Match, professional wrestling. Let us know. And I will personally end his very existence on this show, and I'll get someone else. Just let me know. I was just asking. But, hey, Stand up for greatness. This is Stevie Ray, and I'm out.